Russian President Vladimir Putin has said that he is open to the idea of a 30-day ceasefire in Ukraine, but only on several conditions. In fact, ahead of his meeting with the White House envoy on Thursday, Putin hinted at wanting limits on weapons deliveries to Ukraine during this potential truce, and also pushed for major Western concessions. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called Putin's comments very manipulative, while US President Donald Trump described them as promising. Shortly after Putin's remarks, Donald Trump said that Putin's statement was very promising, but it was not complete, and said he was willing to meet or talk with the Russian leader. Just listen in to what the Russian president had to say, followed by other reactions and also our detailed ground reports from Moscow and from Washington.
Мы согласны с предложениями прекратить боевые действия. Но исходим из того, что это прекращение должно быть таким, которое привело бы к долгосрочному миру и устранило бы первоначальные причины этого кризиса.
Vladimir Putin just said he is open to a ceasefire, but he does still have some concerns. He suggested that you two should speak directly. Do you have plans to speak to him soon? If so, when are you confident you can get this across the country?
Sure. He did say that today. It was a very promising statement because other people are saying different things and you don't know if they have anything to really, if they have any meaning or, I don't know. I think some of them were making statements. I don't think they have anything to do with it. No, he put out a very promising statement, but it wasn't complete. And yeah, I'd love to meet with him or talk to him, but we have to get it over with fast.
Ми всі почули з Росії дуже передбачувані, дуже маніпулятивні слова Путіна у відповідь на ідею тиші на фронті. Він фактично готує відмову станом на зараз. Путін, звісно, боїться сказати прямо президенту Трампу, що хоче продовжувати цю війну. Хоче вбивати українців.
Well, some very revealing comments from US President Donald Trump during the course of Thursday about the progression of potential ceasefire discussions with Ukraine and Russia. On Ukraine, he said that really many more details had been discussed and worked out than had previously been thought. Now, up until now, the thinking was that the meeting earlier in the week between the US and Ukraine was really a preliminary meeting to get things started, to get discussions underway. But Donald Trump in the Oval Office on Thursday suggested that they had gone much further than that they were advanced in discussing exactly which territory Ukraine would hang on to and which territory it would lose. He also said that the issue of NATO membership had been discussed, making it clear that the US is keeping to its position of NATO membership under Donald Trump being a complete non-starter. So that is not something that Ukraine will be getting as part of these discussions. Donald Trump also had some insight on the comments that we heard on Thursday from Russia's leader, Vladimir Putin. He spoke about an idea of getting good signals from the Russian leader. He said he was hopeful that Russia would do the right thing. And he also said that many of the things that President Putin had said so far were promising, but he did say that they were incomplete. He said that he would be willing to meet the Russian president, either some face-to-face meeting or potentially just speaking on the phone. But I think it's interesting to note the difference of opinion and language that the Ukrainian leader, Volodymyr Zelensky, and the US leader, Donald Trump, used about President Putin's language. Donald Trump seems to be talking up the deal. He seems very optimistic that what we're hearing from Moscow could get all sides to the negotiating table. But by contrast, Ukraine's leader said that President Putin's language was manipulative, and he even suggested that more sanctions should be placed on Russia as a result of what we've heard and as a way to try and get Moscow to the negotiating table. So things are progressing, the US continuing to play this middleman to try and broach the topic of a ceasefire and bring both sides to the negotiating table. But despite the progress that seems to have been made this week, it still seems as if we are a long way off a full resolution to this conflict. Nick Harper, NDTV, Washington.
Russia says it favors a ceasefire in Ukraine, but notes it should lead to a lasting settlement and address the root causes of the conflict. That's according to President Vladimir Putin, who commented on the US proposed 30-day truce. Putin said Ukraine could use this time to rearm and conduct a mobilization, and added that many more details of the ceasefire should be worked out, including control and verification. He also stressed that Russia holds the initiative in the battlefield, with Russian troops advancing on all directions. Putin confirmed Moscow is prepared to negotiate the next steps towards ending the conflict and reaching acceptable agreements based on the rapidly evolving situation on the ground, which is shifting in Russia's favor. He also said that Russia maintains full control over the situation in the Kursk region, with Ukrainian troops now isolated and either dying or surrendering. Those issues are being discussed with the American representatives, as Steve Witkoff is in Moscow for high-level talks, and the Kremlin did not rule out the possibility of a conversation between himself and the US President Donald Trump. Dasha Chernysova, NDTV, Moscow.